Welcome everyone to ATX, and our lovely member Joel Mark is our presenter today. So take it away, Joel.
Okay. Well, thank you. I just want to say I appreciate everybody who is attending today. And this talk is called Eureka, the year that I discovered color. And these are images from 2008 that are going to illustrate, but actually from 2009 as well. And these images were updated in 2025, and I'm going to, in the course of the talk, going to explain what I mean by that. So here we go.
Joel, can I stop you 1 second? Can you
Yeah,
tell us when you started photographing?
that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give a biography.
Uh-huh.
I'm going, assuming that I can get this to, yes, a brief biography. Um, I was born in 1941. I'm 83, and I started photographing on and off as a teenager. And before my last year of college, I was born and raised in Chicago. I went and took two classes, summer classes at the Institute of Design in Chicago, which was part of the Illinois Institute of Technology. And one of my teachers for one of the class was Aaron Siskin, and the other one was Harry Callahan. I didn't know who the hell they were. They were just Aaron and Harry to us. Um, all the other people in the class had art backgrounds. I was the only one that basically, well, I was studying chemistry in college. And, I took an art appreciation class, which was probably the best class I ever took looking back on it. Anyway, um, everybody had everybody had plaster casts to do the lighting exercises that we were assigned. And what I had was a detailed plastic model of a human skull, and I used that for that. So it was interesting. Um, I want to show you a little bit about what I was doing for. I started. I left. Um, I left chemistry in 1970. 72, and I moved to California in 74. In 1975, I started working as in the photography industry, but I also was attending the photography program at Orange Coast College in Costa Mesa. And from there, I went out and I did the usual things. I did some shooting, but I did a lot of assisting and built a very modest commercial practice using editorial, some product, architecture, interior design shots, and so forth. But I was always shooting for myself. And mostly, I want to show you something to give you a basic baseline of where I'm coming from photographically. I want to show you the stuff that I shot, was shooting up until 2008, and we're shooting mostly black and white uh, film because it was available. You could process it yourself. There were a lot of labs available. Color was more expensive, though I did shoot some color. Um, and so I'm showing both some of the black and white work and some of the color photography I did. This was an experiment. I did a whole series of I wanted to see how little I could put in a frame and still have something that told a story as a photograph. But I also was working with wanting to see the effect of exposure. So I basically would do a normal exposure according to the meter, and a one under and one over, create this kind of thing and see how these worked with one another. I did an internship before I left California in 77 briefly to go to St. Louis to do an internship at catalog studio. And they were one of the people that they were beta testing E6 Ektachrome. And so I came back with a few rolls, and I shot that at for various projects. This one in particular is interesting. This woman is Sylvia Schaap. She's since passed away, but she was a rather well-known portrait painter, and she had the self-portrait. And I thought it would be kind of a visual pun to photograph her in front of her self-portrait.
Mhm.
And so one Saturday, I went to her home and I set up a small studio in her living room with the help of a very dear friend Vicky Martin, and made this photograph. And in a way, it was a good thing I did. This portrait was purchased by someone, and they had a house fire and it was lost. So this is basically the only record of that self-portrait. So
That's it.
anyway,
I'm gonna just have to pop in there and say that's an amazing picture.
oh,
It's
thank you.
and it looks like it was taken today with AI and
Now,
so
this
that
was, thank you. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
I mean just the fact that this was done obviously back in the film days before digital and this looks like it could have been done last week. And it's just perfect to me how you got her face expression. I mean, she's mirrored crazily perfect
Yeah,
there, I think.
she was an amazing woman. I was looking the background. Um, I found Seamless in a friend's studio, and that worked. Um, we even wrapped one of the legs of the. If you look at the here, I'll show you right here. Wrap that back leg of the easel with the paper so that it would be less obtrusive. Um,
Excellent.
yeah. So this is a neighbor of mine, Ernestine Mercer, and this was shot in my living room. I used my living room as a studio, and it was for a project that I was doing about photographing variations of emotions. And this was the test image. This was the clip from the lab to see how to process the film. And it turned out, in my mind, is the best image in the whole series. So this was a for a concert announcement. A woman by the name of Cheryl Brantner, who is an architectural interior designer. Um, Used to hold. Uh, she had a studio downtown and used to hold house concerts. So uh, the piano in the studio. She had uh, the score and the plaster hand, and I borrowed a violin from a musician that I was acquainted with, and produced this um, in the studio for an announcement. Henry Butler, a pianist. His eyes are closed in this because he's blind. He never opened his eyes. But this again was using simple background and a piano at the Brantner studio. Uh, Neighbor's backyard. This is my father. This was the first day that he was in assisted living. And I took this, I used to carry around a little point and shoot that Olympus made as a film camera and load it with high-speed film. And I just have it with me. And I took this shot while we were settling him into his new home. Uh, uh, Another fat burger uh, in the neighborhood. These were taken at the Museum of Contemporary Art downtown. They're composites. And I put them together, and I was learning how to do composites this time. So it was like a lot of trial and error to get it to all seem normal and work. And get the pieces together. I remember I had a little piece of the floor because it didn't quite fit right.
No,
Um,
I have a question about that one, Joel. You're saying this is a composite. It,
yes,
and it's not
it,
like just a diptych of two separate, or is it just two prints on one piece of paper?
it is two. I had made it as two friends on one piece of paper. I took these at the same time, but this person, and maybe this person, and these were separate. And same thing down here. This may have been like this shot, and this was separate, taken same time, and I worked to fit them all together so it all looked right. But they were never meant to be a diptych. It's just that it just seemed like it was the right way to put them together.
So that was several exposures combined into one print
Yeah,
on each
but
for each of those things. That's amazing back in that you were able to do that. So that was all done in the dark room or with the computer?
no, this was all no, this was putting them together was computer. That was computer.
Okay.
But again, this was all done with this Olympus point and shoot. I always carried around, I always did a lot of stuff where I let the cameras do what they did automatically. And it's because I needed a break from a lot of the technical stuff I was doing. So I left a lot of stuff to chance, and it paid off a lot of times. I was, and I didn't have to think about, well, what setting should I do here? What setting should I do there? It was just a matter of just get it out, get the camera up and take the shot and be done with it. And if it worked, it worked. And if it didn't, it didn't. Um, this was taken at the 10th anniversary celebration of the Jazz Bakery. And this was in Frood Hall or Theater at UCLA. And this is Henry Johnson and Nancy Wilson. And the background was not entirely black. In fact, I was shooting these things from the wings, and you could see all the backstage equipment. So basically, on this whole series, I basically painted out anything that was a distraction, uh, and it worked out. Another composite. This is an organization. In fact, they just had an event, but this was taken years ago, prior to 2008. And what they do, what they do is that they take they solicit images, black and white images from people around the world. They take them to the file, and they make Xerox prints, and they put these up, and then they have a big celebration. It was with a lot of, and so again, I took several pictures and put them all together. And in fact, back here, there's a friend of mine who is busy pouring water for people to drink. Billy Higgins, the drummer, and Oscar Bashir, again, taken from the wings. I was belonged to an organization called the Committee on Jazz that put on concerts, and I had tremendous access to the performers and was able to do things that the average music photographer doesn't do during a performance. This again was taken for one of Cheryl Brantner's concerts, taken from her studio window. And there is, if you'll notice down here, there is a gentleman standing outside of this boarding house taking a smoke break. Chet Baker, at one of our jazz clubs here in LA, out in the local desert, went out with a friend and just to spend the day outdoors. This is from a series that I had done where I was interested in the energy that was in Southern California. The sun on fields of vegetation is amazing, and I wanted to kind of emulate that. So what I did was I overexposed and overdeveloped the film, and then I would print it in a diffusion enlarger to lower the contrast and on a very soft, high silver coat paper, silver content paper to get very shimmery highlights and midtones, and uh, so that's what this is. Another composite rehearsal for a play at Fiesta Hall in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
A
Yes. Yeah.
little quiet moment with some people I was visiting in Florida. This was taken at the Marmont from one of the balconies, Chateau Marmont, the Marlboro Man, and that was in the days when people were it was okay to smoke everywhere. This also is a composite. Uh, this is taken at MoMA when they were doing a lot of renovation. And here we go, is that what I want to talk about now briefly is that I'm devoted to the print. And I have my setup set up, my monitor is set up at a very low brightness so that I can emulate the paper white of the print, because that's the whitest white I can get. And as I say here, my goal is to print. It's a matter of control of my vision of the image. And I do believe digital representation varies from device to device, and it is ephemeral. Um, the print is stable over time. There is the pleasure of holding a print in your hand, of looking at it on your wall, and you can take your time to explore it. So that's it. Now, digital versus film. Um, During the aughts, there was this transition by a lot of people from digital to film, from film to digital. And some people it was very easy. Other people, they had a lot of, they had problems with it. For me, it was easy. I looked at them as two sides of the same coin. Film is a sensor, just like the solid state device in your camera is a sensor. They both record light playing on them, the intensity, with some technical tricks to color. But basically, you you make decisions beforehand. In the case of film, what film am I going to use? What settings am I going to use in order to be able to get a negative or a slide to show that you're going to use for whatever purpose. You post-process chemically. You do the same thing, to create to create that latent image to make it live. You also then go ahead and you continue to post-process by making a positive if it's not slide film, and you do various things there. You're using chemicals, where with digital, you're doing a lot of the same thing, except you're doing, instead of having a number of films, you have settings in your camera. You take it, you then post-process it using technology, software and hardware to do that. So basically, we're doing the same thing. We're getting different looks. We're working with our aesthetic, and so now we come to 2008. I had been shooting some digital commercially. I was shooting color, most of the color I was shooting commercially, but um, shooting for myself mostly black and white, because I could, there were a lot of labs and everything. But I was carrying around a camera, and this is the camera, and I want to show it to you because this is this is it. And one day in January of 2008, I was at an event and I saw some stuff and I said, that's interesting. And I took a picture of it. And I took a picture with this camera and uh, several other things there. And then I started to process them. And what I did was, and I'm going to say something, it's better to have and not need than to need not have, and I'll explain that. These are very, very tiny files that come out of this camera. They're in highly processed JPEGs. There's a lot of artifacts. And so what I did was technically I would go ahead and I would add some blur to the file, and then I would clean the file up, and then I could enlarge it very slightly. I could take, well, I'll show you. This is probably roughly 2 by 3. And this is roughly 4.5 by 6.5. And this is what I start out with. And this is what I could enlarge it to and have something that was decent. There were programs for upresing that were available at the time, but they really didn't do a very good job. And there were some technical techniques where you could in Photoshop upres 10% at a time and keep working at it to get it up. But I never found them satisfactory. So in doing these, I made a decision, first of all, to let the camera determine the light, the way the things look, because the white balance on these cameras was, to be nice, was rather iffy. And I did not try to, in most cases, to do any corrections of the color. In the processing, I would convert these things from 8-bit to 16-bit. So I wanted some headroom since I was pushing and pulling these things so that things didn't get torn apart. I couldn't create anything more than what was there, but I wanted to preserve as much of it as I could. And for color, these were usually sRGB, which is what the internet uses mostly. I would put them into a um, a big color space, because again, I was pushing and pulling, and I was pushing and pulling the color, and I didn't want to get posterization or I wanted to minimize it. Okay, technical stuff done with this. Okay, now I did this. We get to 2025. Last May, I was basically bored. I was looking at stuff that I had in my portfolio, and I ran across the pictures that I took in this series, which was over several years. And so I looked and I said, well, what can I do with them? Anything. So I started playing around, and I thought, well, I've got all these new tools now. How far can I blow them up? And what would happen if I did? So, because I could do it, I did. And I had the software. I had Lightroom Classic. I had Adobe Photoshop. I had Topaz Photo and Topaz Gigapixel for upresing. And I was printing with Canon Professional Print and Layout. And by monitor, I was color managing with Color Navigator. I watched this guy, found this guy, Keith Cooper, on YouTube, and he's and Northlight Images, which is his website. And he's an architectural and primarily architectural and industrial photographer, but he does a lot of printing and testing of printers. And he's done articles and videos over the years. And I learned a lot from him. And Red River Paper is the paper supplier. And that's a whole other story, but these are the resources that I have and recommend. Now, you see this right here? That represents the original file. This represents what I'm blowing it up to, and actually it probably isn't even totally on scale. I'm blowing this thing up a little over 36 times. And this is sort of what I'm getting after processing using the AI tools that I have.
So Joel, quick question. So this has been enlarged 36 times,
Yeah.
and you're using what software are you using to enlarge it?
Topaz AI and Topaz and Gigapixel AI. These are both made by Topaz. They're very similar in a lot of ways, and they have various algorithms. And so the algorithms are labeled very much the same. They have some of the very much the same, but there are slight differences. And the art is not just to go ahead and bring your file into the program and then punch a button. You have to look at them to see what each of these algorithms do and make a selection. And they they do some very interesting things. They say you can't make a mountain out of a molehill. Well, in this case, you can, and it is not. It is it is taking stuff. It is creating stuff. It is making guesses. I'll show you. On the left, this is from that previous image. This is 36 times section from a 36 times blow up using Photoshop's um, uh, method of blowing up in the information pane in Photoshop. This is the same thing using one of the either Topaz or uh, 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 one of their programs. And you can see, look at the first of all, all the aliasing here. Um, uh, you can see that this is sort of fragmented, and you can see that it's the AI has reconstructed it here. It's enhanced detail and smoothed out the tablecloth and the books in the background. Um, they look painterly, and that's the other thing is that they look like they have been. They're not. They're. This is from a photograph, and I am not deliberately trying to take something in Photoshop and make this into a drawing or anything. I'm using. This is what comes out of the program. It's taken this with whatever and created this leaf with more texture. Um, there are no details in the originals, and it is creating. You say it's creating details. Okay, so
While we're on this topic of Topaz, I will mention, I don't even know if you're aware of this, Joel, that I just heard from a little seminar yesterday that Adobe is incorporating Topaz in your in the Adobe software now.
yeah, they've taken a limited amount of it, and you can only go up. You can only upres. You can't upres the way I'm doing it. So
Ah,
what they've done is it's not like it gives you an alternative. You could by stepping it up. You could upres say 4 times and then another 4 times and whatever, pick up anything in between. Um, so this is we've seen this before, but this is sort of what came out of that tiny little file that we started out with. And the rest of these are like I'm showing you have come out of these tiny little files. Now, what I'm showing you, I'll tell you a story. Anthony Bourdain uh, did a uh, did uh, uh, one of his shows in Montana, Wyoming, and he interviewed an artist, a painter there, who makes very large canvases. And the painter said something very interesting. He said there are three levels of viewing the canvas. You can view it at a distance, you see the whole thing. You can view it in mid distance, and you can examine it, or you can view it very close up, and you can see all the little detail, all the brushstrokes and everything. What I'm showing you now is at a distance because I cannot show you the 36 times blow up and the things that it does. So we're looking at it. What I did is I had this phone. It went with me everywhere, and it was always in my pocket, and available. And I would go to friends' houses, and while I was there, I just walk around and photograph. And I could be at a distance. I could get up close. I had no control over the color. I had no control over where it focused or anything, or the exposures, and it was just fun. I was having dinner at a friend's house. Saw this friend's apartment.
So you didn't have any control when you took the photo, but are these images that you're showing us, have they been controlled
Oh,
since?
yes, there's a lot of post-production on these things, and I use all sorts of tools, including AI tools. On a couple of occasions, I've replaced stuff using some of the AI tools in Photoshop to replace. Yeah, these are not just out of the camera, and oh wow, that's wonderful. Um, these are friend of mine gave me this term. A friend who's a very good photographer and an amazing curator, a fellow by the name of Joseph DeMario. And he said we were doing an assignment and we had to rearrange something to make it work in the frame. And it's something that you would never do in real life. But he said, we're making a plausible lie. And everything I'm doing here, showing you, are plausible lies. I've worked these things. Um, uh, you know, they're 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 not straight out of the camera. Um, it, for me, it's like, what's the point? I'm not, unless it's a document where I have, but so so some of this stuff reflects the fact that I was shooting a lot of interiors. Um,
And if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask Joel at any point. Or if you're shy, you can type it into the chat and we'll.
so these
Question.
last two,
So there is a question already.
okay.
Patrick Quinlan says, what phone model for camera?
I don't remember the phone model, but it was the phone. It was probably one like the one I showed you at the beginning or a little farther back. That's all. That's the the sensor was probably the size of a fly's eye, and and the uh, the processing was probably an afterthought. That was in the camera was an afterthought by the programmers and manufacturers of the camera. It was just something that you could text to a friend, or you could put up on the internet back in 2008. What was available then, and we accepted a lot of stuff then that we were unlikely to accept now.
And we have another question.
Yeah.
Ken Pivak says, what is the starting point with these images? Did you import directly into Photoshop or start with Lightroom
I started with I
prior to
started.
Topaz?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It was prior to your moving it into Topaz.
These were all Lightroom because they're all my catalog. I didn't do much in Lightroom. I would take these go into Photoshop and go into Camera Raw, and I did that. I've done this a lot because a lot of times I wanted to preserve all the things I was doing. I can work in Camera Raw in Lightroom and I can save it, and the it will show up in the Camera Raw in Photoshop. But there were times when I just didn't know how to do this, and so it was easier to take everything into Photoshop, and then I would make it a smart object and put it into Camera Raw and do a lot of stuff there. Did a lot of masking in Camera Raw. The new tools are amazing, and I could do things that I want. That was the other thing. There were things that I could never do when I started this project originally in 2008. So, it's like finding your old negatives, and you would make prints, And, you know, they were great for the time, but you had somebody scan them in, and you had all these now digital tools where you could do all the dodging and burning and retouching that you never could do when, you know, before these tools were available. You know, it's just this magic box of goodies. So, you know, these last few have been was taken at an event that a friend of mine took me to. It was kind of an open house, and I just had a ball. I just wandered around. Um, oh, those were the days when you could just pull out a pack of cigarettes and smoke anywhere. I think this was on a stage. This was actually I was photographing an event on the beach. It was a house on the beach, and this was the day before the preparation. I had come in to look at the um, to look at the look at look at where we were doing this, and also to take a few pictures for the client, so they had a record of kind of what they were doing during the setup. Hotel lobby. I don't know where this was taken. I honestly don't. Uh, what, sitting in I probably a doctor's office, another part of the office, another waiting room, different office. Friend's bathroom, friend's bathtub. What I liked is I was not interested in details. I was interested in composition and color. And I always feel that for me, color is a part of the composition. Um, there are things that you can really do in black and white that are amazing. You can get to the core of things, but there are things when you have color, I think are equally important. They help tell a story. They are a different type of contrast. And that's my shower, by the way. It hasn't changed much in the last 18 years.
It's interesting that this low megapixel camera and with your processing skills, how painterly it comes out looking.
That's an interesting comment. What I did, you know, with the originally, I would make these blow up the original files back in 2008 and beyond. I would blow them up to about roughly 4.5 by 6.5 inches, and I would print them on a matte paper. I do my own printing, and they would look like they were done with pastels. I love that. Um, you know, it's important. I'm not saying that photography should imitate painting. It stands in its own right. But these particular ones, the fine detail is not important in these things. It's the overall detail. If you when you blow up this type here, this text here, it falls apart.
Mhm.
You will know that you'll know it was text, but you won't know what it said. Oh, by the way, this was filled in with, I think, with AI, the white here, because it was um, the the lotion was only filled the bottle only up to here, and it was kind of streaking down here. So basically, I filled in all of this, um, so that
Joel,
yes,
Joel, I have a question. When you said you fill in with AI, so this is obviously the latest stuff in Photoshop, I presume.
yeah.
What kind of, I've been told that the best thing with AI is what you tell AI to do. So would you have said something like, fill the white bottle with solid white, or?
I sometimes I wouldn't say anything. In
Oh,
fact, now for doing certain things, they're telling people not to say anything. I tried various things and eventually was able to get it to work. Um, um, you know, I've done it. I've done this a couple of times. And I've sometimes what I've used is the remove tool in Photoshop, the one that is in Camera Raw, and you have a choice between using it with or without AI. And most of the time I use it without AI, but once in a while I'll do something and I'll want to see what it will do. And with that, I don't think you can prompt with that. It's what
Oh.
it is, but it will replace, and I'll keep working with it until I get what I want. Um, I, I don't have extensive experience with it. It doesn't interest me except in certain things. And I think there's one coming up that I can show you that was where I used it, and it was important in terms of the visual to use it. Again, I'm just doing, these are posts. The whole thing here is what I learned shooting interiors and shooting other things as well, but was I wanted to draw the viewer in. I wanted to control it, not just to have it where you had somebody look at something. I wanted to be able to grab the attention and have rearrange the dynamics with the visual dynamics in the frame so that the viewer was led around and through the frame. It's important. It's important in artwork, but it's also important in commercial work because sometimes with the work you do, you only have a second to grab somebody, and you have to get them to get the information that the image is telling you, like right away. So all of these have been have been part of the post production is to arrange the light so that you are moved as a viewer. You are It's dynamic. It's not static. It's just not where I pointed the camera and recorded what it is and then made it look pretty. So you have things like diagonals and curves and stuff, and you have their brightness and contrast, and sometimes the color manipulated the saturation. Um, did a lot of work around the frame of this to make sure this was darker than this, and then this was very light. I had to darken this down and make this a little more, make a little more emphasis there to get this to work. Well, it's interesting. I was talking about the the how these things interpreted color. And I took this shot, and the camera made everything with this yellow cast. I took a similar shot a couple of seconds later, and it made it green. So it was a crapshoot all the way around.
So we have a question here, Joel. Ken Pivix says, the subtle tones within the whites I see are nicely graduated. Were these accomplished using Photoshop or in Topaz?
Actually, this comes out of Topaz, and I think the graduation. I have no. This is speculation on my part. Trained as a scientist, I could not say this is true or untrue because I haven't done the experimentation. But this is part of why I think when you have expansive like this, where working in 16-bit, giving the data the headroom to expand. You have a way of filling in, not just taking something and tearing it apart, but you have a way of filling in those spaces that are creating as you're expanding all those pixels. You've got a space, a way for a place for them to go, and not to be either one or the other. They can be either or. They can be something in between in terms of the color and contrast. So yeah, this you could say the same thing here, where you have this you have these These are all tonalities, basically. This has the appearance, because it is so much texture in the original. It has the appearance of having a lot of texture, but as you blow it up, that texture is softened by quite a bit. This one is the one I was telling you about. This area here was a tabletop,
Hmm.
and it just didn't fit. So I kept fiddling around until I was able to create more floor.
And then, did you do that with AI or pieces of your own images?
I think it was AI. I tried with pieces of my own image. I kept working at it. I'm there are certain things that I'm just not really skilled at and do well. So I tend to take the simplest route possible. And if you substitute easy for simple, you also have an insight as to my working methods. Uh, and this is at our local diner, Astro Burger, and not much has changed.
You have a nice eye for color and light
Yes, thank you, thank you.
And shape contrasts.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
composition.
Yeah, it's all of this is important. Now, the what I do is now I'm not sitting there like with a view camera setting it up. I'm looking at this thing and it's a fairly quick. I may make some adjustments trying to get, since I was an architectural photographer, trying to get the verticals more vertical. But I make these are all done relatively quickly. I see it, I shoot it. So it's kind of like street photography with very, very few people.
You got an additional compliment from the chats. Cy Bronner says placement as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we're really getting into painting.
Yeah, this was taken at Trader Joe's in the back room. They're still lifes. This is the kind of stuff I love. I mean, that's the other thing. I'm unobtrusive. So I can, and with this camera this small, I can get it close to something without, you know, simple. And it's always with me. That was what came out of the camera, this green.
Mm.
And same here, same here. This was not done in post. This was taken in a jewelry workshop. It's the back room of a jewelry store where they did repairs and restorations, made jewelry. Again, part of that workshop. I don't know where a lot of these things were taken, to be honest with you. It's just in passing. I still have the coat on the right. I wear it all the time in the winter. So, local coffee shop. Friend shower. This was taken at an architectural exhibit. I have no idea. It's a model. I have no idea. Steinway opened a space in West Hollywood showroom, and they had a opening reception, and so I went.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh,
More piano.
that's the inside of a piano.
Yeah, you can see
Wow.
you can see here Steinway.
Yeah, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing. But it becomes a piece of art without
yeah,
not you can't recognize what it is. It becomes a piece of art.
yeah.
Just
Well, that was
super
the other thing
interesting.
about this. It you get somewhat of an abstraction. It's closer when they're small, but it really changes when when it's bigger. This is a hotel bar. You can see a bartender on the background in the right, top right.
Mm.
And this was taken, I'm not sure. I think it was taken after a Thanksgiving Day celebration, cleanup, but I'm not sure. I don't know where this was taken. I was walking and I walked into this place. That's what I remember. Um, I was giving a presentation downtown. It was in a space that had a bar, and I just walked up and took this. Another bar. I used to be a bartender and a bar manager, but I don't spend a lot of times at bars, to be honest with you. Um, Again, this was, I walked into someplace and I saw this. Now there's a lot of work in this. This is probably the most complex space that I ever took a photo of, with or without the camera I was using. It's it's a window display with a ton of mirrors,
Hmm.
and then we go from the ridiculous to the sublime. I'll go back to that. I'm sorry. I really worked this one post. I removed a lot of stuff and everything because there's a lot of stuff that just was, from a visual point of view, was a detriment to to the image. You know, it's a friend's house. There it was. I don't know where this is. I find it interesting that the sign is on the inside of what looks like a workshop.
So I want to go back to the lemons there. Do you artistically, do you only want to photograph what you see, or would you arrange those lemons?
No, I saw it. I shot it. This is, this was the beauty of this whole thing, is that I didn't have to arrange it. Um, you know, it's the when I spent my time doing, doing stuff like interiors or doing some studio work where you were moving stuff here and there a little bit to arrange things in the frame, but not tear apart what was in front of, particularly interiors, what was in front of you. You were having somebody cheat chairs so that they looked, using wide angle lens, and you wanted them to look like they were square to the table, but you had to kind of turn them to make them all look, and all look like they were straight, and you had to cheat other things around throughout the room. It just took a lot of looking, and when we're shooting those with film, I was looking at those. I was shooting a lot of stuff 35 millimeter, so I was looking through a viewfinder. And the cameras, the digital cameras that I was shooting with had a small monitor in back. So I'm looking at this stuff and I'm looking, trying to visualize. So it was a lot of intensity. So these were meant to relax, and I didn't have, I did, you know, I, I didn't have that investment in these that they had to be perfect, that they had to be art, that they had to be anything. They were just there and they caught my eye. They were interesting. Take the picture, look at it later on, see what you got. If it's good, that's fine. If it isn't, no harm, no foul. It's just, you know, just basically clear out the cache in the camera and go on to the next one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, I think this is parking garage.
Mhm.
Ah, my friend, I was bicycling with my friend C. Bronner in Century City when I took this. We had stopped for a moment to take a break. We were on our bikes, and I saw it, you know, and took it. There's a lot of post in this as well, but basically they're just little, just it made itself available.
When you say there's a lot of post in that, what do you kind of mean by that?
Okay, we have to intensify the sky, get some contrast in here, open this area up without without making this destroying it. Whoops. Um, you know, this involved opening this up as well, which was where some of that AI masking came in, so I could mask this thing off. And what I was, oh, and the thing of it is that you can do color, you can do adjustments with color now, and you could do it before, but you know you can pick a range of colors, and you can make them lighter or darker, change the color, and do a whole bunch of things. So I had to mask this off without including the leaves. And I had this little piece in here as well, you know, this little fiddly stuff to do as well without, and it would have been a real chore for me before some of these tools got to where they got. I just never really good at, well, I shouldn't say really good. I was never practiced at it. I never did it enough to really get skill to be more than just a beginner at it, you know. So, yeah. Um, Paella was a friend's 50th birthday party,
Wow.
and she had somebody come in and make paella, a big pan of paella for everybody. So, I've done food shots along the way. Some have been more successful than others. Um, I was doing dishes, and this is it. This is the last bit. This this is the resting bird shot. And as to quote Porky Pig, yeah, that's all, folks. Any
Excellent.
questions? Would anybody like to see a comparison of the files at all?
I would like to see that one, the resting bird, the original file, because it becomes totally painterly with this.
Yeah, this is the one that I actually did the least of, so the least workup. So I'm going to escape, and I'm going to uh, put this aside. Let's see. Let's see. Are you still? Are we still sharing? No.
No,
Let me get back to this.
You have a So there's a couple of messages in the chat. Kathy Blavis says, bravo, Joel. Fabulous body of work and great presentation. Well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm here. So what I'm going to do is open up Lightroom and okay. Uh, Let's see here. We rearrange these so I'm not in the order that I wish. I have to look for it.
See how there's a red mark here? I took ours off. Okay.
Trying to find it.
If you don't, you can just show another one, because I
Yeah.
think it's where you really understand what you're doing. Or like
All right.
the one with the black and white interior, it looks like a closet interior.
You had it, Joel. It's the one 2 notches up on the, second from there, one over. Yeah.
Yes, see that one.
Okay, what I'm going to do is go to the folder in the library. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to choose a 2. The one with the 4 stars is what came out of Photoshop, and the one that 5 stars was obviously the final. And I'm going to do a compare. Tab. This is what comes out. This is there wasn't a lot of work on this, but this is what comes out of Photoshop, out of the blow up. And this is the one that that I post produced. And I am going to see. I got to get to this here. Oh, that's why I have to do it. Excuse me a minute. I have to go with it. This is 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And take this down. You can see
You are changing the colors to, or making the colors to make the contrast more visible.
yeah, some of these I had to change because I did not like the screen in there.
Mhm.
It was more of a distraction. But you can see these as they're blown up.
Yeah, you need to give them time to load your
Yeah.
Hey, Joel, I have a question.
Yes.
You said earlier about how your goal is to print. So in your thought in process, especially on the ending part using the topaz and stuff, you obviously were thinking of the print as the end product, and those choices you made were based on printing.
Yeah.
Is that how you
Well,
were looking at the approach of this?
yeah, because I don't use uh, Instagram or any of the it's what I found when I was using it is by the time you get something up, you're 10 images down the queue. And as I said at the beginning of the presentation, I truly like what you can do in a print. Um, it's it lasts much longer. Most people, in my experience, when they set up their computer and they set up the computer monitor, whatever way it comes out of the box in terms of color is what they leave it at. So I have no control over that, and I color manage my stuff. I have calibrate profile my monitor, so I know where my color is, and so I can predict what color I'm going to get out of my printer, and it's not exact because they're two different media, and so yeah, I do a lot of. I don't like using it. I don't like it. My, as an artist, my intent for the image is destroyed. I have no control over it. And I want to have that control. The print gives me control. I mean, they can be viewed in various, light that's brighter or darker. Color temperature could be very warm or it could be very cold, but basically the intent is still there. So that's why I print. I like the print. Um, I just think, and that's it. I'd like to show you at least one other, show you some of the things that happen. Just
Wait, Joel, because you have more questions. And then yes, do continue and show us more stuff. I want in the chat, Olivia Smith wrote, Joel, how do you feel the evolution of technology has influenced your storytelling of your photography, specifically with AI?
well, I don't think AI per se has had it. It's given me more tools, and it's made itself very useful. But in terms of being able to do things, um, it's made it a lot easier to do. When I was doing when I'll tell you when I was doing darkroom work, I come home at the end of the day. I had my feet were sore. I smelled of chemicals. It took 3 showers to get myself to where I was, presentable in terms of odor. These days, I uh, I can sit in front of a computer. I can take a break if I'm in the middle of doing something, and I don't have to, I don't have to go from the start of the process to the end of the process right away. The tools are more available. Instead of having flat feet at the end of the day, I've got a flat butt, and I only have to take 1 shower to smell better. I know that's I'm being a little whatever here. But the reality is the tools certainly give me more. I'm able to do things. I'm able to dodge and burn, to mask, to do things, to have more control that I did not have before. I never had the skill set to do the kind of masking, for instance, that people like my friend Ken can do. That kind of where you can do that fine masking and control small areas, small objects, whatever, small elements of an image. So this has been a boon for me, and the AI has made it easier actually, because the tools are more precise, and you can focus, both in the way they work, but also that you can focus them more easily on to where you want to go with them. Is there a follow-up there? Is there more that I need to answer?
Yes, there's one more question, I think.
Yeah, Bob Oberlin said, what size do you like to print and how do you like to display them?
Okay. Well, I use 4 basic sizes, and I print on 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17, 13 by 19, and 17 by 22. And if you look behind me, you'll see the bottom row. My friend Ken built me a very large corkboard, and I put the prints in sleeves, and I basically I use push pins to put them up on the corkboard to show them. I did improve the lighting in the studio so that it's bright enough to show them in a way that you might see them in a gallery. But I like holding the small ones in my hand. But basically, if I can put them up on the wall, I can go get up like nose close to very far away, and I can get a good sense of them. Uh, uh, I'm fortunate to have good uh, a good printer. I sold my last car to buy this printer, so and it's worked out very well. And there's a whole craft to printing as well. It's just not a matter of taking a file and putting it in Photoshop or in some other program and placing it in your in your uh, your layout, paper layout, and then pushing the button. There's a lot to be considered. So it's an art in itself.
No, that's a different thing.
So any other questions or
Not right now.
okay? Shall I show you one more of these things that shows a little bit?
Yes, please.
Okay. Right. And we'll go back down there so we can find it.
I think you should show them with all the letters.
You say
I just want to show you.
nothing? Don't put it in the chat.
Okay, let me go down.
Figure it out.
Ah, this is the one.
I like that.
Oh, wrong one. Show in folder one.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Come on. What do we want? There. Okay.
Hey, Joel, I noticed they both have 5 stars. Does that mean they're the same one?
No, I don't know. That's just that I have 5 stars. That's it. Um,
Your film strip you have it in there twice because your film strip shows 4 stars on one
okay,
and 5 on the other.
hold
Yeah.
on a minute. Okay, you're right. Let's see. Here. G.
You
Okay,
gotta
this is the
select
one.
X and Y down on the bottom.
Right, here's the one. That's 4 stars.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, let's try it. Come on. Every time you try to be cool, that's why I was a terrible typist. I can never get my fingers in the right place.
There you go.
Oh, fit. This is the way you would normally see it. And going up to 100%, I want you to look. I want you to look up. We're going to look in this area here at 100%. And where is it?
Just use that little plus on the preview and put it where you want it.
Okay, here we are. Well, you can see what's happened. This is where it comes out. This is this is this is what begins to happen with these. Is that you'll notice that what looks solid in the original in the smaller one will look You'll notice that this area looks solid,
Mm-hmm.
and as we take it up to 100%, you'll notice how you begin to get, it's sort of the marks you get when you're painting.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see that. You see that here. You see it in the textures as well.
So Joel, the one on the left is the final, right? Because that has 5
This is the
stars.
final, yeah. But you can see that this is what happens, that the AI fills things in, and it's taking something with no fine detail and creating detail on it. I am making the mountain out of the molehill.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's called pixel prestidigitation.
Yes, that is a good thing and a way of any of talking about it. But this is what I want to eventually what I want to do is to make these very large prints. I'm going to take some of the, I've been printing these on 8.5 by 11 to have the prints, the records of the prints, but I wanted to print them. I want to take them up to at least 17 by 22, but I would like to print them so that they could be 56 by 76 to make them really big. It's all the fashion these days too, but also to get that sense of this other side of it, this other reality.
I like it just like that. Blow that little section up. That's perfect.
I can make it. We can do it. We can do it. But if so this is the kind of stuff that one this is what I've been doing with myself since last May.
So Joel, question then. The prints you produce, like I see on the wall behind you, though, does that detail show in the print as well?
No, these are going to show like when they see them on screen small. When you see them like this is the way they're going to show.
But
They're
when
going
you
to show
like
more.
if you interpolate it up to the bigger size print you're talking about,
Yeah,
will that begin to show up in the print then?
that will show. This is at full size. This is 100%.
Okay, so that's what the print will show at the size. And what size are these generated at now?
These are probably 9 inches on the long side, maybe a little less.
Yeah, so if you took that corner of the handrail and the door handle and you blew that
Yeah.
little tiny section up
Yeah,
to 9, you'd have that painterly abstract.
you'd have more of it, I think. Yeah.
And these have already been interpreted. So what you're
Mhm.
showing us is not straight out of the camera. You've already
Oh
magnified
yeah.
this by 36 times or so.
Yeah. I'm going to escape this. I'll show you. Since we're here at this already, I can take this, and these are my JPEGs. That's that. And that's, whoops, wrong one. JPEG. That fits. That's at 100%. That's a JPEG at 100%. And
Wow.
if I take it up, let's just say 400%.
Wow.
I'm taking that's that, and that's at 800%.
Pixelation.
And this is, we'll go to the max. Oops. This is 1600%.
Mhm.
And that's what we started out with.
Wow. And that's not nearly as big as what we were just looking at as far as
Mm.
enlargement size. So that's an
Oh, this
amazing
is as far as
comparison.
Photoshop can take it. We're doing 3600% with what I'm building it up. And the AI is filling in all the details. Now I'm making a selection as to how it fills in, but basically the AI is filling in all these details. And so it's I don't know if you could call it the creator, but I'm using, if it's basically, I'm saying, here tool, this is how I want to use you. You know, it's like taking, like taking a wrench and saying, here wrench, this is what I want to tighten or loosen. And it's doing what it does. But the consciousness is me choosing how to use which algorithm to use, because these are not done in the cloud. These are all done on the computer, on my computer here.
Would it be hard for you to put a side-by-side comparison of this image to the finished one?
You can try, yeah, let's go to, let me go to this G, and I can take this. All right, I'm going to temporarily take this and put this over here. And then I'm going to take this and,
I think you put it in the wrong folder.
yeah, oh, I did. All right. Oh, where did I put it? Oh, that's what's.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
messed you
put
up
it.
there.
All
So
right.
you might have to take where you just moved it to and just share it into that folder.
Well,
You
that's why, yeah, except I can't.
You can move the final 5-star one into that other folder.
Yeah, except it's not in the folder now.
Yeah, you
It
moved
went,
it down below under where the other three are showing. You dropped it into one of those other folders there just now.
Yeah, I think it was
which
the
one?
08
Yeah, you got to go down, Joel.
go down to 08 15 is where you
Keep
drop
going
it.
where there's 3 of them. Keep going a little lower.
Yeah, all the way.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's I think you dropped it in the
It's the
20
next one down.
next one down. That's where you put it.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Oops. Nope.
Command Z.
Yep. Let's go back.
Command Z.
I am.
Oh, it's not deciding to help us.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. It's in here. So it's just a matter of.
Maybe the
Oh,
1
here it
star
is.
to the 5
Yeah,
star.
that's the one there. Okay.
JPEG, yeah.
Okay, let's do that. I'm going to put this back in the JPEGs, and it'll be there. And I can take this, and we're going to compare these two.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There's that. That's that. And I don't know if, oh, there it is. Let's do 100%.
Wow.
Let's do,
Oh, wow.
okay, let's do this at 800%.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
You know, it's almost like this is a photograph and the original one with it's all pixelated and it's wet paint. And then you take your finger or your brush and you just wipe through it to create the solid look without the pixelation.
Yeah, I guess you could,
It's,
that would be a good analogy.
yeah, it's what it, that's why I kept thinking, I just wanted to go zip with my finger on it.
Yeah. But, and it is taken where there's a hint of detail and created detail, you know, it's created detail from nothing.
That's magic.
That is magic, sure.
Yeah, yeah. It's, you know, it's, the truth of the matter is, I don't know why I did it. I thought, well, let's just see what happens. And it wasn't like, well, if I take these and I'm able to blow them up and this is going to happen. This was like jumping off the edge.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I think
The
that's
one
the
thing,
point of creativity is that you sit there and you look at something and what can I do with it that makes it more interesting?
yeah, yeah. So, and this actually gave these things whole new life. It's like I said, this is like going into, finding old photographs, old negatives or slides and scanning them in and reprocessing them, in a way that you couldn't reproduce when you originally took the images.
Mhm.
So that's it.
So
And
Joe,
that's the
I have
other
to
reason.
ask, the picture with all the mirrors, that really complicated one, did you find yourself in any of those reflections at all, or was
No, no, no.
so all those mirrors were angled so you weren't even seen in any of them then?
Wow.
There were, if I was, but the detail would be so small it wouldn't show up. If you were, let's see if let me
Well, I
go
didn't want
back.
you to have to go back and look for it again. I just thought, did you find yourself over and over again and you had to AI yourself out or something, or
No, no, no. I wouldn't have anyhow.
right?
See if I can find that. There's the one. It's got to load.
Yeah.
You can see. You can. You can see. You can see what this has done. And this is. So there's a picture there.
They almost look like a Paul Klee painting up close.
Yeah, that's what happens. It reads. You think you can read it, you know, and then you go ahead and you see it's been abstracted.
Mhm.
So
That's actually kind
so this is why I wanted to continue to pursue this and see them big, because they become something else. But it's like, and it's not, I don't believe in making stuff big just for the sake of making it big. Um, there has to be a reason.
So are you still shooting with the same camera phone?
Oh no, I have no idea. Well, I something happened to that phone around the end of 2011, and I got a BlackBerry, and I started shooting with that. There was a much better camera, so it changed the way I shot, and I was able to do some rather interesting candid portraits with that, intimate candid
Hmm.
portraits. But then I misplaced it, and I thought I lost it, so I got another Android, and I have no love of Android phones, particularly because the ones I could afford then were cheap, and they had no memory, and they were loaded with bloatware, so you really couldn't do anything with them. So I got another Android phone, and I think I went back to processing with. I think, though I'm not sure, because I remember going in 2012. Went to Arizona um, uh, uh, to visit my cousin, and we went to the Grand Canyon. And I have all these Grand Canyon shots that are shot on a little phone like the one I showed you. And I loved it because you have all these photographers that are doing beautiful, uh, uh, landscape photographs of it. And mine are just totally abstracted and, you know, chunks here and chunks there. And I haven't gotten to those. I'm still working on the tail end of 2009 on these things. I've still got another couple of years to go before there's a break. Um, and which I'm looking forward to working on those. But that's it. So I hope that this gives you some insight to some of the things that I've been doing and spending my time with.
It's beautiful work. There's lots of beautiful images.
Yeah,
We do have a comment from Patrick Quinlan. When you enlarge a digital photo beyond its resolution, there are suddenly gaps, pixels that didn't exist in the original image. Software like Photoshop or AI upscalers, such as Topaz gigapixels or even AI-powered super resolution, doesn't know what those missing pixels were, so it infers them. It fills in the blanks based on patterns it has learned from other images. That's essentially confabulation in visual form. The system has
yep,
partial data, the original small image. It uses context and statistical inference to guess the missing pieces. And the
yeah,
result looks plausible, sometimes even beautiful, but those details are made up.
Yeah.
yes, they're plausible lies. That's what I said before. These are plausible lies. You know, I I am not creating. I'm not a. These are not documents. This is not documentary photography or documentary interpretation. Um, the you know it's it's that old story when it rains lemons you make lemonade, and basically these little pictures beyond a certain first couple of uh, purposes are basically lemons. What do you do with them besides, send them to your friends or put them on Instagram maybe for whatever reason. They're not so. I thought, what could you do with these things? Is it possible to do something? And they are confabulations. Um, you know, uh, they're hallucinations, whatever you want. But that doesn't say that you cannot use that as a tool to create. There are people that do prompts with with AI to create images that look more like conventional images, and they will work, and they will keep them proprietary because they've worked months maybe or longer to get to a point where they've got something they can show. And uh, I'm not doing that. I'm basically just saying here. I'm choosing one route there. Go do your thing. That is another reason why I work in 16-bit and I work in a large color space, is to give room so that when these things get fractured, they don't get fractured to the point of being, you know, un, unrecognizable, just being, just hash. Uh, I want, if there are two shades and when you pull them apart, uh, rather than having an either or, there can be something in between in terms of a different shade. So that's all. And again, that's speculation on my part. I have not done the experiments to show whether this is true or not, but for me it feels good. So there. It's just it's just the way I work. I don't recommend anybody else do it because this is going to give you the best results. I just do it because it feels right for me.
Well, they look like paintings, which is,
Yeah, they need to blown up,
why
yes.
why people have, gone back to Diana cameras and why the kids are shooting film today and whatever. It's all a matter of your art and what you want to put out there.
Yeah, I get a kick out of that because you'll shoot film, which, as I said, is just another type of sensor, and then they'll have it developed, they'll have it scanned. They don't care for the negatives or at all. They just take the scanned files and go back and then finish them off electronically. So it's kind of a hybrid, and um, it's all of a look, and more power to them. Whatever you can encourage people to do creative stuff and to explore, why not?
Patrick comments, it feels right to me, Joel.
Okay, well, thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that. Really appreciate that.
And Kathy Blavis is saying it's a collaboration.
Yeah, yeah. It's a confabulation that's a collaboration.
Hey, I got a question for Amy and Lynette.
Mhm.
With AI today and the way it's used, and now Adobe having AI identifiers in their copyright structure on the back end on stuff, would those monitors in the program read an image like this as a certain percentage of AI, or because of the way he's doing this, it may not see it that way? I'm kind of basing on Patrick Quinlan's comment, and it made me think of that
Maybe
because
we have one of the engineers in the group or more computer oriented people that could answer that, because I have no idea. In other words, what would the amount of AI be interpreted as if there was is that what you're saying? That,
yeah, like in other words, when
percent?
you go to do the copyright or anything else,
Yeah.
there's a certain percentage that that Adobe would look at an image and
Mhm.
make a judgment on it. They call it something a credential type marker. Um,
Yeah, you have to put it in. At least now, for now, you have to opt into doing that. But
Oh,
I've never been into it. And I think what I've heard, at least as of last year, maybe, the patent office will only patent the percentage of an image that's not AI generated. But that gets to be difficult because it depends on what you're using the AI for. Um, you know,
right, that's my point, because here you're using
yeah,
it just filling in things that already are in the image, yet it's creating its own thing rather than manipulating the image to change the visual of it.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, my
I think,
thoughts on that would be that in Joel's usage, it's just like burning and dodging in the dark room or things like that.
right.
When they're what you're, I think, referring to is when people say, okay, put a cat in the place of the dog and, add a clown in a red, yellow suit, then that's when you've created a whole image or whole sections of images that are just created with AI. I think that's where that comes in, that you can't copyright that but Joel's stuff, looks more, it's his picture that he's enhanced as opposed to um, redone completely. I mean, if he just said, "Hey, create me a table with 3 lemons with a chair in the background," that he couldn't copyright
Yeah,
it.
no, that I get, right. I was just wondering with the way the credit credentials, that's what it's called, would read the image because AI was used. Um,
hmm.
but no, that makes sense.
yeah, I think a lot of that is more important when you were, like doing editorial or journalistic stuff, where you're dealing. I have my friend Tom was a great food photographer, a very good food photographer. Since passed away, unfortunately. Um, and he would use fake food in the backgrounds of the things that he was shooting, the products. So instead of having a whole big wheel of cheese, he would go into these places down on the East Bay where you can buy a artificial model. You can buy a fake model of the cheese realistic, like you used to see in the windows of some Japanese restaurants, where they would have, they would have a replica of some of the dishes that they were serving inside. So if I use it to fix something, or if I use it, to take something out of a background, suppose that I'm shooting a street and there's uh, a traffic cone sitting somewhere, and it isn't necessary. I could use AI to reconstruct what might be blocked by the traffic cone. I don't think that that's a terrible thing if you're not, if you're not representing the image as being an absolute record of what was in front of the camera. So, what was the story that? And I don't know if it's true. I heard that Ansel Adams used to have assistants go into the woods and break branches off of trees so that his to help his composition get rid of them. So
Yeah, I've heard that
it's
before myself.
yeah, it's apocryphal. So where do you draw the line?
So Joel, I'm going to ask you to stop sharing your screen so that we can see the pictures behind you for a little bit as we wrap up here.
Okay, okay,
I like seeing behind you.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I'm going to stop sharing. Stop sharing, and that. Can you see me now, or
We
wait?
can
No, I
see you, but not the images behind you.
okay, hold on a
We
minute
put in the
here.
view,
No, you're seeing it's just
we've got to put him in speaker view.
Or
Now
just
talk,
angle
Joel.
your computer up a little higher. That's all. Your screen,
Yeah,
so we see the images.
yeah, that's what I'm going to
There.
do.
And let
Yeah,
Joel talk so that his image comes up.
yeah, okay, that's what I have. I wanted that because that whole thing so I could see all of it. And if I was more skilled, I'd switch over to my iPhone and go over and show it closer. But their whole images. Um, wait a second.
oh,
Just go
nice.
ahead and got something here that's sort of reject, but see, this was for some reason it's print, but I don't know
Cool.
if that's
Yes.
is it focused?
The
Focused
image
enough.
is,
Try to get it to focus on that.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, I can only do this for so long. I'm not a very good C-stand, so
Yeah, that's nice. That's good.
yeah.
I think we can see it.
Okay,
All right, that's excellent. All right, so
yeah,
so a few people have left the meeting, and I
yeah.
just wanted to, and they made comments when they left. I didn't want to interrupt you earlier, but I want to remember to say, Anne Romero de Cabra, de,
It's Anne Romero de Cordova.
yes, she says, great work, Joel. We have to go, but hopefully we can take a look at the end with the recording. So we'll make that available for her if you'd like. And Nancy Glowinski says, I have to drop off, but thanks, Joel, for sharing your work. Nice to see your face and all the lovely images. So quietly poetic.
Thank you. That's high praise from her. She used to be the head photo editor for a major picture agency.
wow.
So that's really high praise from her.
And Kathy
Yeah,
Blavis, I might have said this before, says, bravo, Joel, fabulous body of work and great presentation. Well done. Olivia Smith, oh no, that's, yeah, I had done that question earlier.
Lynn Freeman's.
Olivia Smith says, "Hey team, dropping off now, but thanks for letting me listen in. Thanks so much to Joel for sharing and the team for hosting." Cynthia Gordon says, "Have to go now. Thank you, Joel, for sharing your great work." Carol Evans says, "Very impressed, Joel. Thank you for your presentation. I learned a lot." And then Patrick agreed with me whenever I said something. Let's see. Lynn Freeman says, "Wonderful works of art. Love your different perspectives you have captured that create more dramatic movement together with your high contrast of darks and lights. In the end, you have created a more exciting image than the actual one that you're originally."
Your
Camera
original camera capture.
Thank you. And she says, oh yeah, she's
Yeah.
camera originally captures. Patrick Quinlan wants to know, please remind us, what printer are you using?
Oh, it's a Canon Prograph 1000.
Okay. David Newey says, "Thanks, Joel. Well done." Karen Lucas says, "Thank you for this trip through your visual history." Barry Breyer says, "Inspirational." And Bob Oberlin says, "I like how you take everyday items and places and make them seem interesting and surreal." And I ditto that. I agree.
I do too.
Sice Bronner says, "Thank you so much for the invitation, Joel. This was amazing. I would expect nothing less from you." To the team, I noticed another friend of mine will be here next month. Same link.
Yes, well, the link would be our normal link, not Joel's link.
Yeah,
They
so
could get it. They could get into there'd be two Joels and correct it.
um our website is atxsocal.com. And maybe we can so yeah. Just kind of, and if you want email reminders, you need to let us know. And we can add you to our email list if you'd like to know about upcoming meetings. And that may be your, that may be your best bet. We don't spam. We only send out probably 2 emails a month, one announcing this meeting and one following up with another meeting. So we can do that, or however you want to do it. But yeah, the meeting that Joel sent his friend, the link that Joel sent to his friends is his personal link. But you can come in as Joel again. That works too.
Or just go on to atxsocal.com and you'll see the regular link. It tells you to register. That I don't know why they do that, but it's just the same thing every time. And we put the link in the emails and we put it into our newsletters also.
And Patrick Quinlan has added, "I'm impressed by our many photo observations. Might expand my willingness to shoot what I see too. Thanks, Joel."
That's the point of this group, is that everybody is in different elements, but still in this creative mood. And Joel shooting the kitchen sink might inspire someone who's a graphic designer to go, "Oh, I'm going to shoot some kitchen sinks and make a graphic piece out of them." And, and photographers might look at a graphic design and go, "Oh, I'm going to put that in the backdrop of my image or something." It's just this melding of creativity that goes on. That's what's been so much fun.
Well, this is why I suggested doing this in the first place, not just for me, but this group
Super talent.
has a lot of skill and experience and done a lot, and shouldn't hide it under a bushel basket.
Right. Good idea.
Awesome job, Joel.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much.
So hopefully we'll you were our first guinea pig for the "Who Am I" type of presentation, and hopefully we'll have others. Well, I think we have another one who has already volunteered. We just have to nail down a date. But as embarrassing or um, with such trepidation you might have, it's still fun because you have what you've been doing recognized by people that have an artistic bent, or I don't know what you call it. And it's kind of nice to see how other people see your work. So yeah, if anybody else says, hey, maybe I could do that, then yeah, let us know. Just email. If you write to atxcalifornia@gmail, that gets to both Amy and me, and we talk about it. And we can, you don't have to email us individually, just email that ATX, it's atxcalifornia@gmail, right, Amy?
I think
And yeah, I think, and that gets to both of us. And so then we can just figure out, okay, when can we schedule this in? Because we're building our schedule for next year right now. So if you say, gee, this would be fun for me, or maybe this will bring me more jobs, you never know, who knows?
so. Does anybody have any more questions for Joel? If not, I'm going to turn the recording off. Thank you, Joel, for a wonderful presentation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
for having
Joel.
me. And thanks for everybody that came, is still here and who has left. Just thank you for letting me talk for an awful long time.
All right.